Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Jeff. That's my wife, Kim. This is My Wife Still Likes Me. I hope you're doing well. They say compromise is the key to a successful marriage. But what does that really mean? How do you get practical without feeling like you gave something up?
Yes.
Yeah, marriage is a beautiful thing. While she picks a question, let's be honest. It's not always a bed of roses. One of the things that makes or breaks marriage is compromise. What was the first question?
What was the greatest feat of your childhood?
Greatest feat of my childhood. Riding a bike? Childhood feat. Learned to ride a horse.
I got nothing. I had a boring, we went and did stuff, but I was a boring kid.
Trying to think of like challenge. I rode an ATV through an electric fence and survived. I rode an ATV up the side of a riverbed and rolled it over on myself and survived.
Oh my gosh. The father of my children, everyone.
Yeah. Greatest feat of your childhood. Ready to go.
I literally cannot think of anything. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool that I got to ride a horse and a mule and, going on a farm, but you're coming in with, I did this and I did that. And I was lame, okay? I survived.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm also the oldest of four, so I helped out a lot with my younger siblings.
Funny. All right. So, compromise is one of those words that sounds negative. Like somebody has to lose.
Yeah.
But what if it's not losing? What if compromise is really about building something stronger together?
Yeah. A lot of people equate compromise to a 4-letter word, and in a marriage or any relationship, really, it shouldn't be.
Sure.
Like, in preschool, you don't necessarily want to share the blocks with the other kid, but I want to share blocks with you. I want to share a house with you. I want to share so many different things with you. And sometimes when we say compromise, it's not that you're giving up something. It's maybe making the plate for your spouse instead of yourself first, or you're up anyways. And sometimes it starts with those little things before you can get to the big things. And for us, sometimes it comes out in our chores. So when we first got married, the trash was taken out by you. That was a compromise that you were willing to take on for my safety, because we did not live in the greatest neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
And that still falls under compromise because it's something that you are willing to do for me. And I think that's sometimes where we have to expand our view of compromise. Is it's not just, I have to do this. It's, I'm going to do this for you because I'm showing you that I love you. And, sometimes it's bigger things of, we talked last time about trying that pottery class or learning golf or some of these other hobbies that you want to do with your significant other. Sometimes compromise is doing some things that's outside of your comfort zone, within reason, obviously, but trying something new with the expectation of that activity is drawing you closer. At first when we went to Top Golf for the first time, that's one of our favorite places to go, even with our kids. I am not that good at golf, like at all. But you know what? I have never flung my golf club over the edge of Top Golf. So that for me is a huge win.
Sure.
Putt. Thankfully, the last time I played putt was before Facebook. So there is no video evidence. But okay, I may have thrown a club or two.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't like putt. But you've also done different crafty things with me because you know that I love it. And sometimes you're going to go through fill in the blank craft store with me, not because you want to, but because you know that I like it.
Sure. Yes, I like that. Doing things because it's the right thing to do. So I thought of it like we've talked about marriage is not 50-50, it's
No.
100 and 100. But in the context of compromise, one person gives more in one season and then the other person could step up in another season. That's a version of compromise. Like, I just don't have it today, so
Yeah.
you're going to pick it up. Or you don't have it today and I'm going to pick it up. Compromise builds trust and respect. It says, I care about your happiness as much as mine. And when you know your spouse is willing to do that for you, it makes you want to do the same for them. So, do you think there's a point where compromise goes too far?
Yeah, 100%. I kind of like to equate this as, you know, culturally speaking today, it's I scratch your back, you scratch mine. And I kind of equate that to counting. You know, I did the dishes last time, so you have to do the dishes this time. Versus they just need to be done. I have enough headspace to do it today, or whatever that division is. Versus too far is, hey, I'll do the dishes next time. Oh, you know what? I'm just not in the headspace to do it today. I'll do it next time. And I'll do it next time. And I'll do it next time. And so it's that never following through.
Sure.
And
Compromise becomes being taken advantage of.
exactly. And this is also where we talk about, you know, mental load. We've talked about it in previous shows as well. But, you know, if you know that in your division of household responsibilities, if maybe the wife is taking the brunt of the household chores during the week, are you giving your wife a break on the weekend? Or is it, you know, are you consciously doing things to fill her back up? There's so many different books, you know, Love Language, How to Fill Your Bucket. Like, there's a ton of really great resources out there, but it's that conscious, are you pouring into your spouse? And if your spouse is not pouring into you, have that conversation. If you've had that conversation once or twice, that's where you need to seek a therapist. But it's really just, it's that mentality, I think, of, you know, if you start counting mentally in your head of, he said he was going to do the dishes the last 15 times and he's still never done it, resentment is going to start building, and that's where it's lopsided.
Sure. Okay. I like this. What about bigger stuff like crossing core values?
And this, I might step on some toes here.
Sure.
But realistically, you should be picky when you pick a partner.
Yeah.
And that this is kind of where my upbringing comes in and our religious values too. But I really truly think that you need to marry someone who is like-minded as you. And obviously, like, we're very different in a lot of ways, but our core values are very similar. We both believe the same things religiously. You know, before we got married, we talked about finances. So a lot of our core values we talked about before we got married. And so I do want to be sensitive to those who are past that marriage point there, or even those who are in such long-term relationships that, you know, maybe there are kids involved and you can't necessarily just split ways. But this is where I really say, like, it's really important to pick your partner, because if you see those red flags, you know, if someone I've been hearing this a lot, if someone shows you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
And so if you've got someone who, the only phrase I can think of is playing games, you know, trying to test those boundaries and then crossing that, obviously you're going to want to give your partner a little bit of grace, because if you haven't had that conversation, they may not know it's crossing that boundary.
Yeah.
But if you've had I would say at least 2 conversations, that's when you need to start speaking to, you know, an adult to your adult, so, a therapist, someone who's got your vested interest. But if you have someone who is crossing boundaries, and I would say on purpose, that's a big red flag for me. That is an unhealthy relationship. And that's where I would personally, if I was sitting across from a friend of mine hearing this, I would say you really need to take a temperature check on your relationship. And I personally don't like bringing up, divorce or splitting, but these are those circumstances where if the other person is not willing to meet you halfway, then that's where you need to seriously reevaluate your relationship. And for me, that's a big breaking point in a relationship.
Sure. Not that it can't be recovered from, right?
Absolutely.
With few exceptions, everything can be recovered from.
Yeah. And that's why, like I say, tread lightly in these. And if you were to break one of my boundaries, my first, and granted, this is also coming from a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a conversation with you.
Yes.
Now, when we were first married, we both busted up each other's boundaries. It took us a while to kind of figure out where those were at. But we had those conversations, and we both messed up several times, but it was coming to each other in love and saying, I love you, but this is a big deal for me, and it may not be for you. And it could be something silly. I can't think. The only thing that is coming to mind is I don't like the kids jumping on the couches. It's kind of a silly one, but I bring up a lot of these lighter examples because I can't speak out every single example in everybody's life. But, what is that piece that I don't like the kids jumping on the couch? You don't care at all. So our compromise is because it bothers me, you enforce it with me. It doesn't harm you at all, but it reinforces my authority as the parent. So that's an easy one, but there's harder ones out there.
Yeah. The one that I get asked about is putting career dreams aside for the sake of what you're building together. Because that's what we have done, right? And we've had these conversations. We've put off school or took turns going to school, or with my normal job, we've moved 3 times now for that and contemplated a 4th in the process. So that has to be a conversation of what is the bigger goal, right? And we've said this all the time. Like we go where we go. And we have conversations and say, okay, is this the best thing for our family right now?
Yes. And I think part of where we approach that is we look at a couple of things, I would say on a checklist is this job move sustainable? Is it realistic? Is it going to have the benefits and the pay that we need to keep our lives going? And obviously, sometimes you have to take a step back to get the potential to move forward. And with each one of those, like we've looked at some that we've taken a risk.
It didn't work.
It did not work. And actually we both have done that in a couple of different areas. But one of the things on the checklist is one of us had to have a steady, consistent job.
Yes.
And so you have to figure out what your checklist is. We have kids, so insurance is a big deal for us. And, there's been times where I've been out of work, and there's been times that you were out of work. Some of those were chosen and some were not.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes you have to have that compromise. And there was one point where you stayed home with the kids. And we had to take a serious look at our finances. And it was, I had the growth potential. And in order for you to have the growth potential, you had to take 2 steps back.
Yeah.
And then have horrendous hours and your paycheck, even with the overtime that you were pulling in consistently, was just paying for childcare.
Yep.
And gas and maintenance on the car that you were driving, because you had about an hour commute through traffic. So it was brutal. And by the time you got home, so time was a huge factor as well.
Yeah.
Your quality of life and the family's quality of life. And because, we looked at both sides of things, and I said, if I take a step back, this is what could happen. Versus if you take a step back, this is what could happen. And it was a big shift for us, because our household duties shifted a lot. But through those opportunities, we've been able to grow exponentially. So,
Oh yeah, those are questions of some of the questions will be deeper questions of don't let it come back in 10 years and be like, well, I put my career on hold so we could do this, and this didn't work, and now I want my turn. That's not a healthy discussion.
And I do think that too, sometimes when you have those really hard conversations, you need to have enough respect for your spouse to say, here's my input, here are my thoughts. And especially when it comes to a career that they're passionate about. For me, I had to say, this needs to be your choice if you're going to walk away.
Yeah.
And for me, I needed you to make that choice, because I didn't want to be the one further down the line, because, we're humans. I didn't want you to go down the line and say that you left this career because of me, because I forced you, because, today the decision, the grass is greener on the other side, but when times get tough,
It's green where you water it.
This is true. But I didn't want that resentment to crop up, and
Oh sure. Yeah. And that makes sense.
I feel like I'm talking too much. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Sure show too.
I'm just the guest.
You're the wife who still likes me.
Facts.
So how do we be practical about this? The first one is communicate, which we have talked extensively. You can't find middle ground if you're not even saying what you need.
Facts.
Right? So talk about it, right? Date day, strategy meetings, whatever. Having dinner, talk about it. Empathy. Try to see the perspective from your spouse's perspective. Like if we have shared goals, right? We've had shared goals for a while. No, we didn't always, right? When we didn't have shared goals, we really had no idea where we were going. We just knew like, okay, let's figure it out. But now we have dreams and goals and where we want to go. And so now that's the lens in which we view all of this stuff. We have retirement goals. We have investment goals. We have behavioral goals for our children, right? So those are all directions we're going. But when you come to me with a thought of, hey, what if we change the goal like this? See it from your side, not just my side.
Absolutely. I think a couple of things that I look at when we have these conversations is being conscientious. I can never say that word right. Of your partner. Okay. I am not going to, I swear it's the moment that you come home with the children after picking them up from school is not the moment. In our house, that is the most hectic time. Before and after school is crazy town.
Yeah. That's not the time to have deep conversation.
That's not the time. And understanding enough about your partner to be like, hey, we need to have a talk after the kids go to bed. That is only going to raise their anxiety. Zip your lips, wait till after the kids go to bed, wait till they're settled down, and kind of gauge, hey, are you in this headspace to have a conversation? Because, if I'm just trying to remember, you used to work 12-hour shifts. You worked
we
4
didn't
12s.
talk anything between my 4 days on.
Yeah. So day one after your 410 or 412s, I didn't talk to you. I just didn't. Day 2 and day 3 were kind of gray areas. Day 4 was usually the best time. But know your partner.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you have people over, that's not the time to do it, And I say these things because sometimes something comes up in a conversation and there's that natural lead in. Be cautious because there's going to be some of these conversations that need to happen. They don't need an audience. It needs to be between you and your partner.
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes.
And a couple
that includes the socials.
Oh, yes. Be nice to your partner. Respect. Absolutely. And a couple other things is we talked last time about those I statements and, coming to you. We actually had this conversation the other day is, I'm going back to school, which is fantastic. I'm finishing up my degree, but there was a really cool opportunity to get a certificate, in the meantime. And so I came to you and the conversation was basically where we're at right now. Do you foresee this being a problem? And the conversation was, pretty simple. And for us, when it's anything development wise, it's like, go have fun, but I brought some facts to the table, cost was taken care of. Time was going to be the biggest factor because of, holidays and some vacation stuff that we've got coming up. But we ended up deciding rather than going to school first, I'm going to get my certification first and then go back to school after that's done. And for me, talking it out loud, helped me, but also I'm coming to the table because I know that's going to require a compromise on your part, is our roles might have to shift some of those days. So.
Yeah. And that's commitment, right? That's the fourth one. The compromise only works if you're in it for the long haul. Shared goals, shared direction. And shared goals, shared direction, you know what my goals are as a professional. I know what your goals are as a professional. We know what our goals are as a couple and as a family. And so knowing those things, when we have these discussions, it's like, okay, yeah, that helps you get where you're trying to go. Let's figure out how that works as a family and how that works with my goals and stuff like that. Any other thoughts?
The only other thing is I know that occasionally Jeff is my dreamer. I love him for this.
Oh, yeah.
And I tend to be the more practical one. And so, he has come to me several times. That's actually where this podcast came in.
This was one of those dreams you didn't say no to. I don't mean it that way. There's been plenty of dreams I've been like, ooh, that's way more obnoxious than I thought it was.
Yes. Well, because, if you want to open a business that, I want to sell ice cream in the middle of a field, in the middle of the desert, I'm going to have some bigger questions like, how are we going to get electricity to keep it cold? How are we going to advertise this? And so some of those dreams, we've had to have some practical conversations. And realistically, like if you're married to a dreamer, sometimes you have to add some logic to those conversations. Like, how are we going to pay for this? What is the time commitment? How is that going to impact our household? Especially if you've got kids, pick up, drop off, homework, feeding people, is this going to cut into your work-life balance at all? Because realistically, some of these ventures that you've thought up, the time factor would have impacted the workday.
Sure.
And so, and realistically, like, especially if you're in a field where there's non-compete clauses in your,
been there, done that.
Yeah. So things that you're going to have to come, because if you come to me and you're like, I want to raise a barn in the backyard. Okay. Well, here's this would be cool because of this, and this, but some practical things on the other side. And so, but the logical people like me, you also need to don't immediately dash, like allow your heart to open and dream. And, you know, the same thing with your kids. You know, okay, cool. Yeah, if we did build a barn in the backyard, what would
cool.
That would be super cool. And we could do this, and this. So,
All right.
yeah.
Well, that's going to end it because the lights are flashing, which means we're going to be out of time.
Sorry. Can you tell we're very passionate about this?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Compromise isn't about losing. It's about creating something together. It is a foundation for stronger marriage.
Yes.
So, question, do you all on the interwebs think that it is a key to a successful marriage? We would love to know. Comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you think. We would love to hear what you want to talk about and what you think about this one. We are not your doctors or your therapist or your coach. We are just taking not so much candid, but fun look at things that we've experienced and how maybe you could move past something because of something we experienced. That's it. My name's Jeff. That's my wife, Kim. And we'll see you next time. Later.